Internets, welcome to another amazing episode of Shameless Plugs podcast. I am here in the basement studio with J.A. George, the delightful, friendly writer of the best J.A. George.
I kind of think of myself more as a youngish curmudgeon, but I appreciate the description.
Anytime, yeah. And we are here today on this hot, hot day in Cincinnati because, God forbid, we have spring.
Yeah, exactly.
But we are here to, I guess, do a little follow-up to our movie episode, but then also, which you should go listen to. It was the last episode. You can find it in our past episodes. But to talk a little bit about music.
Yes.
And music with writing, music as you write, music maybe in your movie adaptation.
Yes.
Or adaptation.
Adaptation. Knew what you meant.
Words.
Yeah.
Yeah. But with that, if you haven't been playing along, you're a fool. So you should go to Twitter and you should join our new hashtag game. Hashtag plug yourself.
Stop sucking. Get in the game.
Get in the game. Jeez.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
Yeah. And it's fun.
It is fun.
You get to talk about yourself and say good things about yourself and rekindle your love of writing.
And it's an exercise in positivity.
Yes.
Be positive about what you're doing. Be excited about what you're doing. Love your writing and tell the world about it.
Writers tear themselves down all the time. We're trying to get people being positive about themselves and their work. So,
hashtag plug yourself. You can find it on Twitter. And
every week, a new plug.
Every week. And maybe, just maybe, there will be one associated with this episode.
Maybe so.
Maybe.
Maybe so.
But anyway, so we're talking about music on this episode. And I like music.
I can't stand music. No, I'm kidding. I enjoy music as well.
You're a liar. I mean...
I enjoy music as well.
Yeah. So I think we've talked about this a little bit on another episode. What your writing atmosphere looks like, kind of what you need to write, what's on in the background, if anything.
Yeah.
I do have music on when I'm writing, so.
I do sometimes, but anyway, go on.
Yeah, I do. For me, if I don't have just a little bit of music on in the background, and I'll get into this a little bit more in a minute, but if I hear something, I get distracted. So, or if it's like that too quiet, I kind of I listen for every little noise. So just having a little noise that I control helps me focus.
Gotcha.
But I'm not listening to headbanger stuff. It's stuff that kind of blends into the background.
So do you have a specific genre that you're listening to, or a specific artist, or group of artists?
I waffle. I go back and forth between two. So if I really just need something, I listen. There's a Korean pianist, and I'm really gonna jack this name, so I am so sorry. Yuruma. It's Yiruma. Okay. Honestly, I'm going to go kind of nerdish on this. So, Twilight fans.
Okay.
Edward's song to Bella in the movies was originally going to be a song called The River Flows Through It.
Okay.
Which is a Yuruma piece.
Okay.
And then they changed it before the movie came out. Look at this. Look at this.
Look at this. Look at the movie knowledge on display.
So, but if you were to search original Twilight song or something like that, you'll probably find this piece. So there's a chance you've heard this song by him. But he's got all kinds of incredible stuff, and it's super relaxing. It's kind of modern, kind of contemporary. And I just really enjoy it. I kind of can just sink into calm brain.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't pull me out of it. If I hear something, it's just kind of so it's very relaxing. So I have him, and then on the other side of things, I have a mix that I listen to. Just has a bunch of random artists on it, but it's a lot of chill stuff. So I'm trying to think who's on there. I got the Weepies on there.
Okay.
I like the Weepies, kind of just they're kind of relaxing stuff. I'm blanking on the band, but they do Blood Buzz Ohio.
Okay.
They're on there. The National.
Okay. Gotcha.
I like the National. Again, the voice is just kind of soothing and relaxing. Don't make fun of me. I have a little bit of Taylor Swift on there.
I'm not going to make fun because later on I'm going to be talking about the soundtrack.
Yeah, that's true.
To my movie, and there are some artists on there that you will laugh at me about.
Yeah,
that's okay.
So I got a little bit of that on there. Just, that kind of stuff. Just kind of, and again, nothing that's got too much of a beat to it. Just the really kind of chill, relaxing, take it down a notch stuff. So, so I either usually have that on or I have Your Room on. Sometimes if there's a song that I'm really into, I'll look it up and I'll listen to that before I start writing.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so writing habits,
okay.
Music.
Yeah. So on my side, whether or not I listen to music just depends on kind of my mood and what's going on.
Makes
so
sense.
if because sometimes I'll have movies on in the background or I'll have TV on in the background. That's usually if I'm just editing and it's not like I have to go super deep if I'm doing cleanup. And if I really want to focus, it's either nothing on in the background or I have kind of I have a playlist of all the MP3s on my computer and it's just on shuffle.
Yeah.
But my tastes are all over the place musically. I mean, I listen to as much rap as I do punk, as I do metal, as I do standards, as I do classical. I mean, my tastes are just so all over the place that's what my playlist is. And it's just on shuffle, so I never know what's going to come up next. So every once in a while, if I'm in a certain mood, like if I'm really in the mood to listen to Bobby Darin and Frank Sinatra, I might make a playlist like that to have in the background. Or sometimes I might...
crooners.
Yeah. Sometimes I might really be in the mood to listen to, Ice Cube and Tupac and DMX, in which case that's going to be my playlist for the day because that's just the mood that I'm in. But again, all of that stuff is in my playlist. There's Motown. There's, I've got as much... I have in my playlist as much Sam Cooke and the Four Tops and the Temptations as I do Pennywise, obscure punk bands I'm about to name, Pennywise and the Vandals and Tiger Army. So,
Hashtag punk bands?
Yeah, and you may not know any of those artists, but, again, that's just, my tastes are so all over the place. It really just depends on what mood I'm in. It's not like I need the mood of my music to match the mood of the scene that I'm writing.
No.
It's just having something in the background, kind of like what you were saying, to tune out other distractions.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of an important distinction, too, because what you're saying, I don't need Birdie to write a sad scene. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I can listen, that can mix in, or, if I don't need Hugh Laurie to write...
Yeah.
A bar scene, it just kind of all mixes in together. But if that's something that you do need, if that's something that helps get you in the mood, if you need to listen, if you're writing in a jazz club and you need a little bit of that jazz music to kind of sink you into that place, that's an important thing to know about your style and your process. So
yes, every writer's process is different. We've covered that, ad nauseum on this program, but I think it's an important point to bring up. There's no right or wrong.
No.
For me, if I can write a high-octane scene while I'm listening to Ray Charles sing You Don't Know Me, it doesn't influence me in that way. But if you're writing, a romance novel and you're writing the big breakup scene and you want to be listening to, this is probably going to be an offensive answer, but if you need to listen to Sarah McLachlan while you're writing that scene, then listen to Sarah McLachlan.
Do it.
I mean, if that's what works for you, go with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That just isn't my process, personally.
Mine either.
Yeah. So we kind of mentioned soundtracks. We mentioned that this is kind of related to our past episode. So I guess my next question, and this might be a long-winded answer when we get to my part, is...
foreshadowing.
Do you have certain songs or artists that are tied to certain parts of your work or certain scenes?
So, in the... Oh, excuse me. I had to stretch and I didn't realize it. I haven't been as mobile on this episode. Usually my hands are going crazy. I'm just kind of sitting here. So, no, for me, the one that I'm working on right now, and the one that I talked about in the last episode, no. I actually don't have any song tied to any particular scene. I think part of the reason for that is because it's set in the future.
Yes, I can see that.
I don't know. I haven't figured out what they listen to. I haven't figured that out yet. So it's difficult for me to say this artist, this song, this place, because I don't know. I haven't quite figured out what music is, what it looks like, how it functions in the space that I am writing in.
Yeah.
But there were a couple of the things that I wrote in college. Yeah, I definitely had some songs that I was like, if I was working on a specific place, I'd be like, yeah. When I was in college, I had a character who was a pianist, actually, and so kind of back to the first comment I made, what kind of got me listening or looking for that type of music, and how I found Yuruma was because I had this character and I was doing some research. I was trying to figure out, is he more of a classicist? Is he more of a modernist? How does he function? So for that, I would really kind of turn on kind of a mix of that type of music. Yeah. And that was the type of music that I could see kind of weaved through that one if it ever became, you know. And then briefly I had a character who had a guitar, but then I decided that was dumb for the story, so I got rid of it. Like, you know, so just that kind of stuff. For that one, and then I am like really nerding right now. So and then for another one that I had worked on in college, I had a character who was kind of a young man in crisis. He was going just through a lot, and Robert Pattinson, actor. Second Twilight reference on this episode. I apologize.
Hey, there's no shame. Like what you like. There's no shame.
Well, there's not really like. It's just happens.
I gotcha.
So, but he recorded some stuff, and I used that for this character because it was kind of very emotionally driven. So but I do like his voice. Check that out if you haven't. You know, he's got kind of a really cool kind of croony, dirty voice. So yeah. But anyway, so for the new one, no, but for some past ones, I've definitely been there where I could see certain songs and stuff coming into play. So all right. Put your listening ears on, because we're about to go into... I am not going to lie, the following conversation is probably one of my favorite conversations that we have when we talk about writing and when we talk about movies and such, because, you know, we're office monkeys, and so our cubes are kind of close. Yeah. And I have to say, probably at least once a week, J. George jumps up and goes, "Oh my gosh, the following song just popped up on my mix, and it's in this scene in novel 4, and so, so I'm actually pretty excited for the following details."
Okay, so I have a pretty extensive soundtrack to my series of novels that I am working on, and it's because I am a movie junkie, as we have divulged multiple times, especially in our last episode. I'm a total movie junkie, so I think of what song would be playing if this scene were playing out in movies of my work. So I have on my phone a playlist. That is my novel soundtrack. And as I mentioned before, it's a diverse mix of artists. You've got Soundgarden, you've got Weezer, you've got Queen, you've got Pantera, you've got East Bay Hardcore, AFI. You've got a group called the Gabe Dixon Band, which is like piano tracks and everything. You've got Bobby Darin on there. You've got the Four Tops. You've got Justin Bieber, which was the reference that I made earlier.
Nice.
Love Yourself. Sorry, it's a good song. And it belongs in one scene in the movie.
It is a good song, yeah.
You know, you've got Randy Travis, for God's sake. You've got Sam Cooke. I mean, again, it reflects my musical taste and the fact that they're all over the place, but the songs that I pick are appropriate in my mind for the scenes. And in some cases it's because they match what's going on in the scene, but in other cases it's because they completely undercut what's going on in the scene, which I like the juxtaposition. So in my opinion, you need kind of that mix of reinforcing what's going on, but I don't want all of the songs to just be, hey, in case you didn't get the subtext, here's a big neon arrow.
Right,
I want sometimes to undercut it. So, like, for example, one of the Weezer songs, there's just the one Weezer song.
Yeah.
But it is a song called Ain't Got No Body off the album, I'm drawing a blank on the title. Everything Will Be Alright in the End. I hope I didn't just butcher the album title, but Everything Will Be Alright in the End, I think, is the title of the album. It was the last one before Pacific Daydream, if I remember correctly.
Wow.
But anyway, Ain't Got No Body. It starts off with this drum beat, and it's talking over this part, and it's like it's like just like kind of a background voice of rock is dead, guitars are dead, while this like heavy drum beat is playing, and then it goes into like this building of Rivers Cuomo, and as he's starting to sing, and it's just, ain't got nobody. It's this nice crescendo. It's this big build-up, and that build-up of the drums with, the talking, the slow build into the actual song just felt right for this one scene in the novel. It's a massacre scene. It is literally a massacre scene. It is one character, a villain, going in and killing a whole bunch of people who, are, frankly, they're just office workers. They're lab scientists, but they get wiped out in this scene from the second novel, by the way, not the first.
The second.
Yes, the second novel, because I am a plotter. Or there's a scene in the fifth novel where a major character who we haven't seen in a while returns, and there's a line, and this is kind of where I'm going with this. Sometimes a line in a song is just what makes it perfect, or it actually inspires the scene. In this case, the song inspired the scene in the work, because there is a line in the song Seven Seas of Rhye by Queen, I descend upon your earth from the skies, and that just felt so right for this character. So I actually rewrote, well, I haven't written the scene yet because it's from the fifth novel, but
Fifth novel.
Yes, fifth novel. I reformulated and re-outlined the scene in my head to be literally the character descending on the earth from the skies, because the feeling of that song and the attitude of that song just felt so right for that character and that scene and that moment, that once I heard that line, and I love that song anyway, once I heard that line, it was just like, okay, I've got to redo this scene because that is perfect. That is the mood that I want to capture with this moment. So, and then there are other things, like there are certain lines in songs that I liked the idea, so I integrated them into the novel. So I don't hear this song playing in my movie, but there was a line from it that I absolutely felt like I had to capture. I paraphrased it because I don't want to rip off the original work, but there is a band called the Distillers, and they have a song called Seneca Falls. Seneca Falls, New York is very closely related to the suffragette movement and everything, so the song is about women's rights and getting the right to vote and everything, but there is a line in there, the thing about destiny is it never ever sets you free. And then at another point in the song, there is a line, the thing about destiny is it never ever makes mistakes. So those ideas I integrated into a conversation between my main character and the best friend, where I don't remember the exact paraphrase that I did, but it was something like, the thing you need to understand about destiny is it doesn't screw up and it doesn't let you get away. Something like that to integrate that idea, just because I loved that idea. And I don't remember how I'm doing this, but I integrate Distiller into there to give credit to the source, because I'm not trying to rip this off. I'm putting it in there because I admire it. But, for people who, kind of have heard stuff like this, or who look into the behind-the-scenes stuff, it's one of those little Easter egg nod kind of things. And for people who happen to be a fan of that band, hopefully they would pick up on the reference and that kind of thing. I like to do those little homages, but this is the case where the music, the writing and the music inspired something in the novel. There is another one. I love the band Tiger Army. They are a rockabilly band. but they're kind of a horror focus. Like they do a lot of stuff. So they do songs about like werecats and stuff like that. And but you know they have literary references too. Like they have an Annabelle song called Annabelle Lee that's related to Edgar Allan Poe and stuff like that. Anyway, so they're kind of a literary horrorcore rockabilly, but one of the kind of the catchphrase associated with the band is Tiger Army Never Die. So I wanted to give a nod to them. So I have worked into the novel some little references, like I have a punk band called Wolf Patrol that I work in, or like I have later, there is kind of an army that gets built up over the course of the novel, so I wanted them to have kind of their thing that they, like their rallying cry, so it's Falcon Army flying high, Tiger Army never dies, so, you know, working in those references to things that I love, so, you know, music has, and the soundtrack has informed the work in a lot of ways, and there are some scenes that I can't envision in my head without hearing the song. You've heard about this one, Samantha. You're about to hear about this. If you are not familiar with the song Boot Camp by Soundgarden, please go look it up immediately. Please go support, you know, I know that they're a big successful band and they're defunct now since Chris Cornell has passed away, but go support Soundgarden by downloading the song Boot Camp, because it has kind of this otherworldly feel to it. It's slower and softer, and it's got this almost acid trip kind of guitar track at the beginning of the song. But in the sixth novel, right before... Sixth
novel.
Right before the final climax scene, the final battle between the main antagonist at that point and my protagonist, right before the final battle, I just have this scene in my head of all these horrible things happening around my protagonist and all these horrible things that have happened to him up to this point, and him literally kind of marching through enemy territory by himself toward this final showdown. But the song has this it's undercut by kind of that surreal, trippy, otherworldly feel. But then at the same time, it has lyrics that completely fit the scene, because, you know, all these horrible things have happened to my main character at this point. The lines in the song are, there must be something else, there must be something good far away from here. And that just fits the character so much. But I like the idea that there's all this action and battle and fighting going on around him, and he's just walking through the center of it, literally walking through the center of it, and there's this undercut by the softer, slower music.
That's cool.
While all this horrible action stuff is going on around him. I just love that song. That's probably the song that best fits the scene on my entire soundtrack.
Nice.
It just feels so freaking right. And then I have like a scene. I swear I'm going to stop talking after this comment. I have one scene where I have 3 different songs.
Holy cow.
So it starts off, it's another massacre scene, because I don't have many. I actually only have 2, but both of them have songs associated with them. So the lead up to the scene, I picture a character walking toward this bar while Pantera Walk is playing. Because it's kind of the build up to what's going to happen. And then he's sitting in the bar and he's just kind of watching what's going on before the massacre. And he's actually one of my good guys. But I hear the song by Australian punk band The Living End. Has a song called Carry Me Home, and it's all about alcohol addiction. But I hear that song playing as he's drinking and getting ready for what's about to happen. And then I hear another obscure rockabilly band, the amazing, they will always be the Amazing Royal Crowns to me. They had to change their name because of a copyright dispute with Royal Crown Review, and then they just became the Amazing Crowns. But for those of you who are Amazing Royal Crowns fan, you will understand the phrase I am about to say, royal to the loyal. They are always royal to the loyal, so I am one of the loyal. But the Amazing Royal Crowns, off their, I think it was their first album, Scene of the Crime. Or, I'm sorry, not Scene of the Crime, Shivering in the Corner. Shivering in the Corner just feels so right. It's for the drum beat and the guitar track and everything for this massacre scene. It just feels perfect for this scene.
So, I'm gonna make a reference to something that we talk about on this all the time. The difference between the plotter and the pantser.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I think our approach to this is very interesting because you're over there like drum beat here,
Yeah.
song here,
Yes.
this thing, got it all, it's in order, ready to go. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I mean, I listen to music.
I think it fits our overall writing styles too.
I agree with that.
Beyond even just the plotter
agree.
pantser dynamic, you know,
Yeah.
I like to dig into systems and, you know,
Oh
even...
no, I agree with you.
Yes.
It's just funny. It's like, I'm just gonna listen to simple stuff, and it works, and it's cool, and you're like, so this band from the...
Yeah, it's pretty true.
Yep.
You know.
No, it's good. I think though I think that's the one dynamic though that's kind of cool is because, you know, however you write, however it works for you, if you love to dive into the history of something and really understand like the motivation behind it and all of that, then, you know, you've got somebody.
Yeah.
And if you're a little bit more like, meh, you've got somebody.
Yeah.
And if you fall in between the two of us, then
You've got parts of each of us.
both of us.
Yeah.
Whee!
But here's the thing. We've talked about this multiple times. We've talked about it in this episode. Whatever works for you.
Absolutely.
Use it.
Yeah. Please do.
All roads lead to Rome. All paths lead to God. Whatever
Yes.
phrase fits you. Whatever works for you. Use it.
Use it. Because that's what matters. I mean, you know, not... If every writer did it the same way, then we would just have the same things.
Yeah, it would be boring.
It would be really boring.
Yeah.
You know, your process is so important to who you are and what you do, and you know, as long as it is a process that works and is not doing any harm,
Yeah.
then use it. Let it work for you. And if it's a process that's not working, then figure out why and change it.
Exactly.
And, you know, I think that figuring out, do you need music? Don't you need music? What type of music? I think those can be important things to developing your individual process and making your writing even better.
And it can make you more excited to write,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
key.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If you find that motivation, that is key.
I agree.
All right. I think that's it for this episode. So,
good.
you know, check out #PlugYourself. Check
Yeah.
out @PlugsPodcast on Twitter. Join us. Join in the games. You might have a
Please.
chance to interact and talk about the things we talked about in this episode, maybe. Huh?
Maybe. I mean, maybe music will be involved. Maybe.
Maybe.
But there's
You know.
only one way you can find out.
Right? Maybe you'll get to talk about what would be on your soundtrack. Maybe you'll get to talk
Maybe.
about artists or styles that interest you. Maybe.
Maybe.
Gotta check it out.
Yeah. Twitter, @PlugsPodcast. Game, #PlugYourself.
Yes.
Yep. Cool. Well,
All right.
have a good one, Outlets. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Sounds fan-freaking-tastic.
Whee!
Bye, y'all.
Bye.